Broadcaster of the Barclays Premier League. Yes! Talk Sport.
I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama Bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
Well, Fox News announced that Obama was dead, but they actually meant Osama. It was probably a deliberate error. Now, look, so discredited has officialdom become. So discredited have the political systems and the governments of Western countries in particular become, though governments in general, that there are some people who don't believe anything that they're told, and there are some people who are prepared to believe anything that is the opposite of what they are told. We've got people arguing that Osama Bin Laden never existed. We've got people arguing that Osama Bin Laden is still alive. We've got people arguing that Osama Bin Laden died a long time ago. And one of those is on the line now. It's Kevin in Glasgow. Kevin, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, George. How are you doing?
I'm well, sir. Go ahead, fire away.
George, just first of all, delighted to be on the show. Delighted to speak to you. I remember just very briefly watching your footage of you up before the Senate in America.
Thanks.
Truly outstanding.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
Anyway, sorry. So it was really just, it was to ask your position. Basically, Obama came out and obviously said that they'd killed Osama Bin Laden, and then they had thrown him overboard at sea or buried him at sea, and just the whole thing just does not ring true. And basically, it was to ask your position. Benazir Bhutto, in an interview with David Trott, actually had said many years ago that Osama Bin Laden was actually dead years ago. It was really just to ask your position on that.
Yeah.
What you,
well, I'll tell Kevin, Benazir Bhutto, God rest her soul, was a very close friend of mine for more than 25 years. And so you can imagine I've had that conversation with her. She misspoke in that interview. She was making the point that many people believe that Osama Bin Laden was dead and that he had been killed by Omar. But frankly, to build a whole case around a misstatement by a politician in a television interview is really not the wise thing to do. The main point to bear in mind, Kevin, is this. Al-Qaeda themselves have announced that Osama Bin Laden was killed on the 1st of May. So they have no reason to pretend he was killed on the 1st of May if he was killed years ago, do they?
No, that's fair enough. I will admittedly, or I will admit that I am a bit of a conspiracy theorist at the best of times. Anyway,
well,
so
there are conspiracies, Kevin. That's for sure.
I would question.
Doesn't mean everything is it doesn't mean everything's a conspiracy, though, son.
No, that's true. I would question the sort of the reality of what Al Qaeda really is anyway, or whether that's really just a construct of other powers, you know. And
I think the website that made the announcement is their website. It's the website through which they make regular blood-curdling threats, and oftentimes actually carry them out. So I don't think there's any doubt that there is a base, which is what the word Al-Qaeda means in Arabic. It means the base. I have no doubt that there is, intellectually speaking, a base that Bin Laden and Ayman al-Zawahiri, his second in command, are the intellectual chiefs of that base. And I have no doubt that there's a big audience in the world amongst Muslims for what they have to say. But I do strongly believe that historically their approach is washed up because it achieved nothing, Kevin. All it did was kill thousands of innocent people, cause the deaths thereafter of millions of innocent people in the US-inspired blowback, and actually changed nothing at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and obviously, you know, the events that happened and so forth in the past of 9/11 are just horrific. But you know, I'll take your point that you know.
Yeah, thanks.
By
it was, Kevin. The overarching point you make is correct. that there's a great deal about the U.S. story about what happened on May the 1st in Abbottabad is highly questionable. And why did they snatch public relations defeat from the jaws of victory like this? Why did they say that Bin Laden was killed in a firefight when he clearly was not? He had no weapon. Why did they claim and plaster this all over the world that he had cowered behind his wife before being killed, when that was completely untrue? Why did they subject him to a cold-blooded execution of the kind that a terrorist would carry out, rather than take this unarmed captive to the aircraft carrier, instead of pitching him overboard, take him to stand trial? It would have been the trial of the century, or any century. Why did they do all these things? And you begin to get some very interesting answers. The first answer is obvious. They will not publish the photographs. They will not publish the footage, even though the president watched the footage live as it was happening, kind of snuff movie. They will not publish that because it would show that they killed an unarmed man in cold blood. And that's never a good look, whether it's carried out by Al-Qaeda sympathizers or whether it's carried out by the agents of Western governments. Indeed, presumably one would agree that it's worse when it's carried out by so-called democracies. And, of course, they disposed of his body in the way that they did because it could have been exhumed, and the actual method of execution in the side of the head would have been evident. They could not take him for trial, because if he was on trial, he would tell the story in full. He would tell the story of the days in the 1980s when he was the agent of the very empires that were now seeking to have him executed. And a great many secrets, I think, about the relationship between Al-Qaeda and its overarching Salafist, jihadist parentage and Western governments. Kevin, thanks very much indeed for that.